So, you have ventured in the forest, eager to explore. And now the winding fairy path shall guide you to my door. This magic moss and shrubbery, 3 decades in the making, already exists, fully charged to get your fandom quaking. So, fly, fools, and come hither to discover, meet and play. Your hero is approaching, just mere seconds away. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kyle Sola.
Hey everybody.
Hello, Mr. Solar. Welcome to Belgium.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, who's got a first question? Over there.
What's your favorite brand of cereal?
The cereal that you just gave me. But yeah, if I was going to be honest, it's probably Cocoa Pops. What's yours?
Fruit Loops. Oh.
You got a second question? No more questions?
Have you ever done theater?
I've done a lot of theater. Yeah, I work in theater in London and in New York. I've probably worked in that just as much as I've done film work. I really love both. I find it hard to choose between the two. So yeah.
Anyone else got a question? Don't be shy. Come on up. Mr. Solar is at your disposal.
Okay, hi bestie. I wrote a question. If you could swap roles with anyone, which character would you have liked to play, regardless of gender?
That's a really good question. I really like Mon Mothma a lot. I think her costumes are incredible.
Yeah.
She looks amazing.
Yeah.
And she's fierce.
Always the fashion, always the
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just, it's such an interesting, in-depth character that she's doing. And I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to be her as an actor. I'd like to be Genevieve O'Reilly. But I think what she brings to the character is pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love that. Can you tell us anything about Andor? Can you tell us anything about Andor season 2? What are you allowed?
Yeah, we're in the middle of filming season 2 right now. We're still based at Pinewood. They're still building almost about 80% of the sets that you see, not relying heavily on CGI. It's bigger, it's better, it's faster, it's stronger. It's really intense because they're cramming in 4 years within the second season so that you lead directly into Rogue One at the end of season 2. And as a result, there's just a bunch that needs to be covered. And it's, yeah, there's new planets, there's new, really big things, really big things happening. It's really exciting. Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
Were you a fan of Star Wars before you were in it?
Yeah, I mean, I watched Star Wars with my older brothers growing up in the States, and we watched Return of the Jedi like almost every single weekend. But I wasn't as invested in it then as I am now. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but it took actually doing Andor and coming into contact with the community of fans and the family actually that really look after this franchise and been looking after it for like 40 years. I really started to understand and appreciate, you know, what it is, and so yeah, I super love it. How about you?
Yeah, I've been a fan for my whole life.
Awesome.
I got a second question. What's been your best experience so far?
Of filming or life?
Connecting to Andor, of course.
Connected to Andor. It's really hard to say. It's been a pretty awesome job. I mean, I would say one of my least favorite days was eating 27 bowls of Star Wars Cocoa Pops. But, I was on a sugar high for about 4 days, but the best is probably, I don't know, working with someone like Catherine Hunter, who plays my mother, who is just an absolute legend of an actor in the UK. I've seen her in the theater a number of times, and literally my breath has been taken away. And to be able to create a relationship with her was kind of like a dream come true I didn't know I had, if you know what I mean. But just literally being on the sets of Star Wars and seeing what the people built, like, is incredible. And that happens every single day I'm on set. So you could say every day is pretty awesome.
Okay, thank you.
No worries, man.
Hi, what's your favorite Jedi of Star Wars?
My favorite Jedi? Wow. I always wished that Han Solo was a Jedi when I was growing up. And that's a deep cut for me. I've never been able to get over it. So yeah, so as a result, I don't have a favorite because I wish it was Han. How about you?
Mine is Yoda.
Nice. Nice choice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Don't be shy. Please come closer. It's more fun. We're all friends and family of Star Wars.
So, as you said that they made a lot of the sets and not a lot of the green screens, did it really feel like you were on another planet, or?
Yeah, so in the first season on the planet Ferrix, they had built what's called a 360-degree set. And that means you can literally go anywhere. And the set was something like 1.5 acres large and just under 2 acres. And at one point we were filming this whole sequence and the director said, like, where do you want to go? And you're like, well, don't I have to go in, where are you going to be shooting? He's like, we can shoot anywhere. Run wherever you want to run. And every single corner, every single cupboard, every single drawer was full of like Star Wars blue noodles and all of this like incredible detail. And it was like being a kid again, but I didn't have to imagine anything. It was like literally right there. And those people that are behind the production design and sets and props are just like, they create a fantasy world in real life, and it's really amazing.
So is it also easier to act? As you don't have like a green ball and you really can act with things that are there and made?
Like totally, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I find it easier. Green screen is fun too, because you can create it all in your mind, but when you have the real, tangible things in front of you, I think the audience feels it as well. I think it goes through the screen, and I think that permeates. So yeah, it's definitely easier.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hello, good afternoon.
What's up, dude?
If you ever would do a crossover between 2 or more movies, why would you choose Star Wars and the other one?
Say that again?
If you would ever do a crossover between 2 movies,
Oh yeah.
what would you choose and why do you choose Star Wars?
So I need to pick a crossover between Star Wars and something else?
Of your choice, you can choose anything.
Well, I probably should, since I'm here for Star Wars. I like maybe Star Wars and like the Never-Ending Story or something. That was a big one from my childhood that like, I don't want them to remake it, but I think it could survive a crossover.
Would you do have the head lead or a small role?
I'd be happy being the unicorn, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Anyone else? Don't be shy. Come on up. This is your one chance to ask your question, unless you come back tomorrow. Yes, over there.
Hi, good afternoon. What would be your favorite Sith character in the universe?
Oh, man. I mean, if you're gonna have a favorite Sith character, surely it has to be the Emperor, right? Like, but I really appreciated Kylo Ren's journey. I thought it was really cool. I'm really conflicted, and I like conflicted characters. I don't like people who are just like good or just bad or already completely established in being like really evil. I like tension. So I thought that was cool. What about you?
My favorite character would be Darth Tyrannus.
Say again?
Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku.
Oh yeah. Dooku.
Yeah.
Nice.
I also have a second question. If you could choose to play a Force-sensitive character, would you rather choose a light-sided character or dark-sided character?
Dark.
Dark. Okay, thank you.
Hi. Which of the 3 trilogies is your favorite? If you had to choose one.
The original, which is technically the second.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, the one from the 70s and the 80s. I think that's nostalgia, but also there was less CGI. And I think what creative people were able to do without much technology, for me, has kind of stood the test of time in a beautiful way. And I loved the stories still. How about you?
The one like Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Which one?
The second one, the prequels.
The prequels.
I grew up with them. Obi-Wan, my favorite Jedi.
Yeah, this is my younger brothers as well. It's the same. They grew up with it and they have that. And maybe that's what it is. You know, like what you grew up with. You kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi. Could you try and rank the 9 original Star Wars movies from your favorite to your least favorites? Hard question, but try.
Dude, you're gonna get me fired.
or what's your favorite from the originals and the prequels and sequels?
Okay, right.
One favorite.
Jesus Christ. Okay. My favorite's Empire Strikes Back, and then it would probably go Return of the Jedi, and then A New Hope. And I actually haven't seen all of the prequels. I've only seen the first 2. So I can't answer that one. How about you? Have you got your list?
I kind of.
You asked me, man. What's your list?
Of all 9, I just know of every of the 3, like, of the prequels. My favorite is Revenge of the Sith, originals, Return of the Jedi, and prequels, Last Jedi. So,
Okay.
but in total ranking, it changes every time you watch it, I think.
See, I think that's true, actually. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hi.
Hey.
Not a Star Wars related question actually, but one relating to Poldark.
Okay.
I was a really big fan of Woman's as Francis Poldark. He was such a tragic character. And I was wondering 2 things. what was the most emotional scene to shoot on the set of Poldark for you? And what is your best memory filming this series?
Oh man. I think I had a lot of really great memories from that job. I'm really still very close with Jack and Heather and Ruby and Eleanor. I think the most emotional scene was probably the chat that Francis has with Demelza in the second season. Because I knew Francis's journey was at a close and he was just starting to grow up and become the man that everyone hoped that he would be. Too late. But he was giving out wisdom to someone else when he was never giving wisdom to himself. See what I mean? And then, I don't know, like riding on horseback along the Cornish coast. Any scene that happened in was probably one of my favorites. There's so many. Doing this stuff in the mine was really cool. Yeah, that was a really lovely job. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hey man.
I will also ask a question about Poldark. One of my friends introduced me. Sorry. One of my friends introduced you as Francis from Poldark, and I will ask you if it was not difficult to play such a personage, because Francis is a character with difficult emotion, and for you, was it easy to represent those feelings at the TV?
Yeah, some of it was difficult, but I think I'm a highly emotional person anyway, so I kind of, I don't know, for better or worse, I live my life a little bit, not like Francis, but emotionally. But I'm always attracted to characters that are really emotionally in turmoil. And I knew Francis would have this arc of finding himself and then getting out by season 2. In saying that, you know, I mean, he was a really difficult character to play because I'm not like him, and he's really, for a lot of the first season, he's quite petulant and weak and his own worst enemy, really. So yeah, it kind of was difficult, I guess.
But you did a great job, so thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Hey.
Hey.
I was wondering what your favorite movie was besides Star Wars.
Well, just like this other dude was saying, I mean, that changes pretty much every year or every 6 months. I mean, I'd have to go into like each category of like, you know, comedy, drama, horror, thriller, and everything. I've got quite a few, man. I mean, like, The Red Shoes is one of my all-time favorite films. I think it's incredible, and I came to it very late in my life, and I didn't know that people were making films like that back then. I thought it was hugely ambitious and really amazing. The Big Lebowski is one of my all-time favorite films, like ever. I could sit here for 5 minutes and tell you all my favorite films, but like, I don't know, have you got one that's like very clearly your favorite film?
Well, I'm actually, well, I would say rather Inception or Shawshank Redemption.
Wow, yeah.
Those are my all-time favorites.
Nice, nice, good choices.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, dude.
Hello.
Hey.
If you could pick a director or a few directors, who would you like to work with?
Oh, wow, that list is really long. Jacques Audiard, Wes Anderson, Alejandro González Iñárritu. They're mainly European and foreign. but yeah, those are three really big ones. Yeah, no worries.
Anyone else? Don't be shy. Just come up. You can ask pretty much anything except for spoilers. And no details about season 2 of Andor.
I'll give spoilers.
Come on, guys. This is your chance. Okay, I'll just ask a question in the meantime.
Cool.
Have you met George Lucas himself?
I have not met George. No, George has, he's the oracle. He's the gatekeeper of the keys, but he kind of stayed away and let Tony Gilroy do his thing. And I think that's pretty wonderful, because that allowed, Rogue One was already established, and so it was kind of taken for granted that Tony knew what he was doing. And Tony works better, as I think probably most people do, when the hands are off, the gloves are off, and you can really make mistakes if you need to make mistakes, and you can take risks if you need to take risks. And I think that's certainly what Tony's done. So, George is on his ranch, I think.
And he's retired, of course. So.
Exactly, yeah.
I have one question that someone sent in advance because she couldn't make it. So she asked, when it comes to Francis in Poldark and, of course, your character in Andor, what similarities do you feel you have with them, both of them?
Ooh. I guess with Francis, I always understood, or I was looking for the man beneath the child. And I always knew that because of his storyline that he had the potential to grow. And so I don't know, I think ultimately where Francis ends up, he's quite hopeful, and he's really attentive, and he's very free, actually. And I think that hope has always been there from the very beginning, and that I'm a very hopeful person. With Cyril, I like Cyril. I think his sense of justice and right and wrong, wanting to do a good job, doing what he thinks is right at whatever cost. I think I value that as well in my life.
Great, thanks.
Hey, I was wondering, how did you get into acting?
I got into acting through my large family. So I'm one of 5 boys, and I think I realized pretty early on that if I wanted someone to pay attention to me, I had to imitate the comedian on the TV, or I had to recite lines from a movie we'd just seen and make people laugh and perform and take up space. And then my stepmom got me into community theater when I was 8, and it just kind of clicked. So it was, I guess it was just my family unit, yeah.
And also, what was the first project you worked on?
As a child, I was Jack in Jack and Jill in Babes in Toyland, the musical.
Musical?
Yeah. But as an actor after drama school, I think it was Long Day's Journey into Night. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Hello.
Hey, man.
What's a kind of advice that you wish you knew earlier?
Advice I wish I knew earlier? That's an awesome question. Don't be afraid to fail. Actually do it more. There's a really great quote by a writer named Samuel Beckett, which is, ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better. And I really wish I'd gotten out of my way and taken more risks and just been okay with the little voice in my head and banishing it away and just saying like, failure is actually how things get done. Failure is how things get accomplished. You don't hear scientists complaining about failure. Failure is like for inventors. That's how they get to invent the thing that they're going to invent. You know, by going through the process of something not working. But a period of my life, I was really worried about failure.
That's a really great advice. Thank you.
No worries.
Hello.
Hey man.
Nice to meet you. You're the first actor from Star Wars I talked to, so very cool. And I had a question like...
Little closer.
Yes, sorry. Which actor you didn't work with in the Star Wars universe would you like to work with in the future?
Oh my god. Wow. That's hard. Chewie. Like, no brainer.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I would like to work with Darth Vader, maybe.
That's pretty good.
Really like the Sith side of Star Wars. So,
okay.
Yeah. And I also had another question. If you could choose a faction to be, like the Mandalorians or Bounty Hunters, which faction would you choose?
Which profession?
Yeah.
In like the Star Wars universe?
Yes. Which not Imperial, or...
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, man, I'd be a bounty hunter for sure. It's awesome. Yeah, you get a lot of cool kit.
So you would capture Chewbacca then?
What?
You should capture Chewbacca then.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So you talked about The Big Lebowski as one of your favorite movies. Now, suppose you were there in 1997 when they were casting. Which part would you have chosen?
Oh man. Probably now, having seen it so many times, Donnie.
Of course.
Right? Like,
Donnie is the best.
He's the unsung hero of the entire film. Everybody else is a little bit flashy. He's genius, and Steve Buscemi is just like, yeah.
I can't believe he wasn't nominated for an Academy Award. A snub.
Stop. Just no. I know.
Okay, guys, anyone else? Otherwise, we're gonna wrap it up. Final chance to ask your question. You've always wanted to ask. Go ahead.
It's me again. So maybe a little challenge for you. Like, I've never seen or heard of Poldark, and so tell us something so we would really want to watch it. Like, give us a little teaser trailer right now. What is it about? Yeah.
Picture a man on the coastline.
It's about, wow, God, what is it about? You might want to ask that woman who was asking the wonderful questions earlier, but it's an English family period drama, and it was an original series back in the 70s, and we did a remake of it about 10 years ago. And there's a lot of sex and intrigue and
also
politics and beautiful countryside. It's filmed in a location called Cornwall, which is the southwest of England, and it could be the Mediterranean in the summer. It's a stunning coastline. It's very wild, and I guess that coastline is translated into these characters. They're very wild people who are actually like being constrained by the 18th century confines, using the same words, of society that they're living in. And it might sound a bit stuffy, but it's actually very emotional, and it's very, it's literally the opposite of Star Wars. So if you're looking for something like that, they did about 5 seasons. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm going to ask 2 questions.
Little closer again.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. The first question is a little bit more of a lighter question. If you could choose a lightsaber color, which one would you choose?
I could never make choices as a kid, and now it's coming back again. I gotta go green. Sorry. I feel like that was the wrong answer for you.
No, not really. I wasn't expecting green.
You could kind of have any color, couldn't you? I mean,
Well, if you have more kyber crystals, you can.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe I'd go like violet or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. My second question is, when you were filming Andor, what was the hardest scene for you to film?
The riot sequence was really just complex and difficult. But I think the scene in episode 3 where I arrive on Ferrix with my boys and we're trying to catch Cassian, that whole sequence, we were chasing the daylight and there was like snow, there was wind, there was rain, there was sun, there was cloud. And that was just like, in terms of like a stressful day of not really being able to catch what we need to catch, and there's an explosion that needs to happen, and it all wound up happening kind of wonderfully. But I remember that day feeling like it was never gonna end, and it was physically difficult and like stressfully difficult. But I look back on it and go, that was my favorite day, actually, because somehow it all happened.
Just to round off, thank you for answering my questions, and thank you for being such a good actor in Andor, because I really genuinely like to see the other side of Star Wars with no force whatsoever. It was really cool.
Thanks, me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, final question.
Okay, hi Kyle.
Hey man.
I took a look at your IMDb page, and I saw that you also did some voice acting work. And I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about it. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, as this other dude was asking earlier how I got into acting, I mean, yeah, my stepmom kind of got me into a more professional side of it. But actually, I kind of got into acting by imitating Robin Williams and Jim Carrey and Richard Pryor to my brothers, not to my parents. And like, that all came from, because they were able to do all these like weird voices and these different characters and their kind of speed of thought and their speed of vocal acuity. I was just like really attracted to. So like doing voice work scratches that itch for me, where I can like put on a different voice and do a cartoon or do a game or something if that story resonates with me, you know? So I enjoy it. I don't do it all the time, but yeah, every once in a while.
Okay, and maybe a tiny follow-up question. Counterfeit Cat?
Oh
what
yeah.
was that about?
I can't fucking remember. I can't remember. I think that was like that was so long ago. Oh man.
It's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
So since you're so good with voices, perhaps you can just do one impression for us?
No way.
That's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, put your hands together for Mr. Solar.
Thank you.